Otaku International Podcast. I'm Kiwi-Chan. Welcome to this week's podcast of Black Clover 286 chapter review. I'm your host, Kiwi-Chan, and I'm with Ike
And Andrech.
Hello.
and Andrich. And make sure to stay until the end because we'll be discussing what will happen to the next chapter. And we'll also be talking about topics that you guys all will be interested. For example, Nox flashbacks with his brother Morgan died. What is Nox regret and resolves to using his what happened to his family and his brother. Knox was jealous of Yami and Morgan's relations ship, and the family secrets they are forbidden. And Knox resolves and regret to surpass his limits. And we're also going to rate the chapter, and we're also going to do a Q&A portion to our Black Clover 286. If you guys have any questions below, keep your questions at the end. So please, if you have any questions about the chapters, please wait until the end. So let's get started. So what are you guys let's start with on Nox flashback. What do you guys think about that? Let's start with Endridge.
I think it could have been a little more ambiguous the way it was designed. I think Tabata could have ultimately revealed what brother he was a lot later, if that makes sense, because the way he this whole chapter essentially spoils the whole point that Noct is Noct and he's not Morgan saying he's Noct, because the moment, like last chapter, we learned that one brother's the older brother and one's the younger brother, and he, instead of saying it from an ambiguous state of mind, he literally just states what brother, he talks from Noct's point of view, which I guess by a storytelling perspective is normal, but I think he could have done it a lot better like that, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Ike?
I think the whole flashback going from, when they're the very young childhood, him overseeing his brother saving people and stuff like that, even when they're kids, and then the transition to, him, let's say, going through his rebellious phase, as you saw his black hair turn into white hair. We're not sure whether it was an actual automatic thing because of his powers. We're not sure if it's just because he's a delinquent.
I think
As we saw with Yami and him, they're kind of doing a bunch of like hood rat stuff. So I don't know. So, but with that flashback, I think it was something in this chapter that was well needed. We actually wanted it. Like a lot of people were sitting here saying, "Hey, let's get some more information on what's going on with Morgan and what's going on with Noct." And you know what? That's exactly what they gave us. They gave us his entire backstory. They gave us exactly who their characters were. And I thought that was pretty cool, tying in Yami and everything. Heck, Yami pretty much grew up with them. That's one thing I did not see coming. I knew Yami knew him, and I knew, he's the leader of the Black Bulls and he's the vice captain, but I didn't know he grew up with them. That part was pretty cool. That was pretty cool to see. It's kind of like brought on like a Three Brothers moment. I don't know. It's like one of those things.
Mm-hmm. And for me, it's like when I see that, like the flashback between Nock, I really like how, like you said, that him and Morgan and Nock and Yami were together as like brothers, but at the same time, I felt like you get to know more about Yami's backstory and how he was when he was like his teen and stuff, and maybe he had regrets and stuff, and I think this is one of those kind of regrets that like someone he's very close to, and you see in Yami's personality that he's kind of reserved. He like, yeah, he cares about his family, but he's kind of reserved, like he's kind of like because Morgan was really close to him at that point, and same with Knox. So maybe that was out of something that respect, that's why he put Knock. It makes more sense now why Knock is the vice captain, because of the relations that they had when they were childhood. So let's go to the second question. What do you guys think about the like his relationship, like Morgan's relationship, like do you think like with Nox, like because he's getting kind of seeing upset that Yami joined into being a wizard knights, and that his brother and Yami's getting close. What do you think, Ike?
I think Noct getting upset about his brother Morgan and Yami going to
Mhm.
the Magic Knights and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I think that right there is like it makes sense.
Yeah.
Honestly, a lot that happens when it comes to twin brothers in the first place.
Mhm.
It happens with brothers. When you spend time with someone for long periods of time, and then you see someone else who is your best friend all of a sudden getting along with that person. Yeah,
Mhm.
I definitely could see that little that type of relationship kind of changing in that mentality because I have a brother as well, and you know what? There's times in our lives that we went through the same thing. So I honestly that when those things came about, I was like, oh okay, you know what? I see you, I feel
Yeah.
that.
What about you, Andrich?
Like the relationship between Yami and Morgan and Noct is kind of weird because on one hand you can say that Yami, or I guess you can say that Noct resented Yami and Morgan for getting along so well because
Mm-hmm.
Noct kind of found a kindred spirit in Yami, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
you could also look at it as a from the past, from the future looking into the past, in the sense that Yami got to spend more time and be the whole light and dark swordsman with Morgan instead of
Yeah.
Noct. So that's also like kind of a resentment thing. And that could also explain to why Noct says he hates Yami because he's took that from them ultimately. I can elaborate more, but that's all I got.
That- yes, that makes sense. And for me, like the relationship between the two, I was the three, is that I was like, I understand because Knox, I think Knox's friend was Yami, and feeling that he felt like Morgan is gonna steal his brother because he's always getting compared, and like he's the perfect brother, he's not the perfect brother, so he felt like Yami's choosing over Morgan than Knox. So I felt like that is something that he felt. So
I,
let's
I have something else to say about this one.
okay.
Another thing I thought was pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't really got an actual backstory on Yami yet.
That is true.
And
That
I
is
think it's pretty cool how they kind of just slid this in there, kind of like showing us how his childhood was.
yeah.
Him growing up as a kid and then moving on to becoming a Magic Knight. Like
Mhm.
I think that part was also pretty cool how they just slid it in there. Now we
Yeah.
know that he definitely was a ruffian even growing up, even though that's who he is now. But now we know that he was like that even growing up, and he had, well, he had an accomplice along with him, of
Yeah.
course. Them getting in trouble, just not enough to get in trouble with the Magic Knights, though.
Mhm.
I thought that was pretty cool to kind of slide that in there as we're doing this whole flashback.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay. And this, let's go to the other question. What do you guys think about Nox family's forbidden magic, like the secrets of it? Let's go with Eldridge.
You mean me? Not
Yeah.
Eldritch, Andrech.
Eldritch,
Eldridge.
Eldritch,
No, but
Eldritch Lord.
yeah, jeez. But
Mm-hmm.
it just I honestly saw this coming with like all the hints that they've given us so far and the amount of knowledge that Noct has with demons like this.
Yes.
But I find it interesting that Noct's whole family fits the context of what we've been told earlier about devils and being able to make contracts with otherworldly creatures and stuff like that. It
Mm-hmm.
honestly just creates a bunch of world building, but it also introduces the idea that Morgan was actually an alien in his own house too, like Knox stated, which is pretty. It's an interesting bit of storytelling. It's like the parents expected him to be the way he was towards the
Mm-hmm.
world,
Mm-hmm.
so that's the reason he was able to inherit such a lavish place, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Ike?
You know what? It was actually kind of introduced to us earlier than this when he first brings Asta into that dungeon room type thing, the summoner's room.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so it kind of gave us like a heads up, like, okay, we know where this is going later on. But
Mhm.
as the parents kind of just came to him, I
Mhm.
was thinking it was like maybe he was like a last choice and thing. No, they decided that he was the pinnacle and he was the head of the family. And I thought that part right there kind of like took a turn for him. That was like one of those things he's like, really? Like me? Is it me? What about him?
Mhm.
I thought that part right there was the after effects sucked, but I thought that part right there was like a big highlight for him because he got to
Yeah.
show what actual potential he had.
Mhm.
Um, and then he did the same thing. He did his dad did the same thing that he did to Asta. Just kind of dropped him in there. I
Yeah.
thought that was another moment. It's like you kind of you saw it coming, but at the same time you're like, okay, now it's real.
Mhm.
I thought that was pretty interesting.
Ooh.
It back to the way Noct learns and the way he views like
Mhm.
personal things. But
Mhm.
I also like how he kind of delves into like a darker side of Noct in the sense that like as soon as
Yeah,
he gets introduced to this whole world that his parents have faith in him finally about something, because he's probably
Yeah.
not used to that sort of thing. Like he immediately starts to delve into that whole dark aspect of his family's life and he enjoys it
Yeah.
despite
yeah.
his better judgment.
Mhm. And with the family secret, the forbidden one, I actually didn't think that because I never would have thought his family would delve into something demon magic. I thought it was just only the Clover people that was supposed to. So I
Spade.
didn't. Yeah, like a spade. I mean, I'm getting those two confused, but so for me I thought like that was like, and his son is a magic knight, so it's kind of awkward for like, you have Morgan is a magic knight and then you have a family is practicing forbidden magic. It's kind of like what? So
Extremely conflicting.
yeah, conflicting. So to me is like, yeah, something must have happened in order,
Mhm.
and I feel like the reason it brings down, I feel like Julius knows this as well, the Wizard King, because he's close to Yami than anybody as any captain. So I feel like he knows about what happened to Morgan and so as Nock. So I think that's why he knows about the demons a bit, is because through Nock and the rest, is because I think he gave a special mission to Nock saying if you want to do a redeem, you want to redeem yourself for what happened to Morgan, then you might as well be a spy for Spade Kingdom. And that,
That's interesting.
yeah, so to me I feel like that was like kind of redemption for for Knock. So that
Well,
is why. Uh-huh.
I think that Noct is like trying to emulate his brother to try and pay tribute to his
Mhm.
memory, though, because everything, another thing that I find interesting is like Noct's whole thing was I'm going to push past my limits, which is why I think
Oh,
Yami,
yeah, that's
him and
the
Yami,
next
you probably used to
question.
say that when they were kids, and that's why
Yeah,
they
I think
both have
that's the
that little
next
tag
question.
phrase.
Hold on. That's the next question.
He was
So,
like, "Oh, I hate this part."
yeah. So, what is Knox regret and surpass his limits? So, since you're on that ball, and
I can
Eldred,
continue, yeah.
yeah, you can continue.
Andrech.
Yeah. Well, it the whole idea of Noct and Yam, like Noct
Mhm.
essentially said he was going to surpass his limits in a like maliceful way, but then he kind of turned it around. Then
Yeah.
he turned it around to something that was good, I guess you can say. But the reason why he does that, I think, is to pay tribute to who his brother was, which is a nice person and somebody that is a good magic knight. For example,
Mhm.
Morgan, not like Noct means night. Morgan would mean morning, which is why
Mhm.
morning is to attribute to his light magic side, if that makes sense. But
Mhm.
one thing, if you look at Noct, he looks exactly like Morgan did.
Mhm.
Noct literally dresses like his brother. He tries to act like his brother, and he makes judgment calls based upon what he thinks his brother would do, if that makes sense, to pay tribute to his
Yeah.
memory, because he essentially killed him by trying to grasp greater power for
Yes.
his own selfish benefit. So
Yeah.
Mhm. What about you, Ike?
On this part, just this, everything that goes on with his brother, and understanding that, he's in the capacity of being good, and what they're
Mhm.
doing is bad. Um, that right there, it kind of makes me think, like, in the beginning they made Morgan seem like he was the son, the best son, and all that stuff, and then now Noctis finding out that technically he's the one that's going to be leading them all. And I think this changes his entire mentality, because this whole time he thought he was the worst, and it kind of flips everything. It brings his ego up, like all the way up to 10. Um, and which, as you saw, it actually allowed him to end up, using his powers to take on freaking, to, what is it? Go through 4 rituals, and
Mhm.
to make 4 devils his own. I guess I don't know if we're gonna call them slaves or partners or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, but I thought, what, we all thought he was, you know, the lesser of sons, but really he was the strongest of sons. I thought that whole concept of changing and flipping the script was pretty
Mhm.
cool. I thought it was pretty cool how they did that.
Mhm. And for me, like when Morgan was like, Knock was like, trying to be, what's it called, like the head of the, like found out he was the head of the family,
Mhm.
and the resolve that he had, I felt like he regrets everything that was in his childhood. He wishes that he had better relationship with his brother, because I think that when you have something reminiscing about what happened, and the traumatized that you got to your brother, you reminisce that and feel like, you know what, I'm gonna surpass my limits. I need to do this, because like what, like I don't know what's gonna happen. Like I already lost my brother. I don't want to lose people, another
Mhm.
one. And he already has, like you said, he has another brother, and that's Yami. So
Yeah.
for me, even if he hates Yami, I feel like in a sense he still treated him as a brother. It makes sense now he's saying, "Oh, I hate Nami," but in reality it's like, "Oh, well, it's because he's jealous of the relationship. I think that's why he hates him." But it makes more sense now, before, but back then it was like, "Huh? That don't make sense why he hates Yami." But it
Hey,
more makes sense now.
hey, now you know what? Ever since they introduced him like that, showing them all close and stuff like that, hey, they're titled the 3 brothers. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah.
Reasonable assumption.
Yeah. So to me, I feel like with that, we would see more backstory, and
Mhm.
that's why for me I feel like I don't want Nami to die, but at the same
Yeah,
time I have that
yeah.
inkling that Yami's gonna die as well. So it's like I'm scared. I don't know what to do. He's giving us Tabata's giving us a thing, but it's strange. But I don't want Nock to die too, but I feel like he's gonna surpass his limits. I hope there's nothing that he could do to, like, when he surpasses limits, like his demon, I feel like it doesn't eat his life, life force, because you know
Mhm.
what happened to Asta. He lost his arm and he gained the demon arm. So I felt um like if he did surpass his limits, he might be no longer human, or something about his humanity would diminish.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So that is why. Okay, so let's go to the, what do you guys rate this chapter? What do you think? Let's go with Ike.
Um, uh, he he literally gave us exactly what we wanted. I think this is exactly what we were sitting here saying that we wanted last week, and now we're finally getting it. I actually would rate this chapter, even though there wasn't any action in it. I would rate this a 9. I would
Okay.
rate this a 9. And the reason I'm going to say why I rated a 9 is because in the very beginning, they give us their story. And you know what they did? Yeah, in a whole chapter, to give us the whole story of them in a chapter. But
Yeah.
they're able to layer it, showing us exactly who they were. And they went from the 2 twins You had the younger brother, the older brother. The younger brother was the most successful one because he was such a good person. The younger
Mhm.
brother was a delinquent. We move on. We find out some information about Yami. We're going down. We're following through. Now they're Magic Knights, and they're literally doing their thing. Yami's a
Mhm.
Magic Knight. Morgan's a Magic Knight, and then we find out Noct is, of course, the head of the family. All of a sudden, this whole time he thought he was the bottom of the barrel, but then his parents literally come to him and is like, "Look, you are the head of the family." And then this twisting the whole thing around,
Mhm.
showing how much potential he had, and then even that unexpected moment, but kind of expected moment that everyone ends up dying during that resurrection, not resurrection, but that summoning.
Mhm.
Um, that right there, like that whole moment, and then Morgan sacrificing himself to
Mhm.
save his brother, like all of that tied together into these emotions to start off with him or go back to him fighting the two demons or
Mhm.
devils. Oh, I thought that's exactly what we wanted. And this next chapter is hopefully going to be a ton of fighting. I feel like they gave us exactly what everyone wanted. So
Mhm.
that's why I put it at a 9. The only reason I don't put it at 10 because it wasn't some like badass moment where he goes and like cuts off a demon's head or something. I don't know. Um, but that's what I think. That's the only reason why it's not 10. I give it a 9 because the actual content.
Okay. What about you?
I agree with like it's pretty much a 9 out of 10 in the sense that
Mhm.
we asked for a chapter explaining Noct, and we
Yeah.
got a chapter explaining Noct. So like what can you really ask for other than what exactly we received? So I
Mhm.
mean, I agree in the sense that there's no scene of Asta cutting a demon in half, so I don't. It's not like a 10 out of 10 moment in the sense that I'd say a 10 out of 10 chapter was that like one
Yeah.
chapter where Asta defeated the Ward Magic Devil. That was just a 10 out of 10 chapter.
Yeah.
But this is just a good lore explanation chapter. I like how Yami's incorporated somehow, and I like how Yami and Noct get along as like goons, but they don't get along as Magic Knights, which is ironic. But what can you do? It's just
Yeah.
it's entirely this like the story seems to be going in a good direction, but I feel like we're getting muddled in backstories.
Mhm.
If that makes sense, like we should have I don't know where else he would put this though. That's the problem. Like I don't know where else he would put the whole backstory with Noct unless his back was against the wall, you know. Uh,
True.
but in terms of Yami dying, I hope he doesn't die. But you know, what can I ask for, really? I mean, if he does die, it might actually be good storytelling. But at the same time, like if he
Mhm.
doesn't die, then it's just going to go the same battle shown the same shonen battle trope that we've seen for a while, and maybe he'll help Asta more and fight
Yeah.
with Asta more.
Hey, I
But
don't mind if Noct becomes the freaking captain. I'm just saying
Yeah.
uh,
Noct is he's pretty badass.
he's not like captain. He wouldn't want to be the captain if that makes
No, I
sense.
don't
He's
think he
not
would
he's
either.
not he's not the kind of guy that wants to be a captain. I think he's just doing this for his own personal redemption.
Mhm.
So if anyone, in my opinion, is giving me death flags, it's Noct.
Mhm.
Yami's whole
Ooh,
death is like a part of the whole lore, I guess you can say. But in
Yeah.
yeah.
terms of like death flags, like we have a guy whose tragic backstory is to try and live his life
Oh.
as his brother, who he killed. So he essentially said he'd rather give his own life to live like his brother. That's like someone that's like as about as many death flags as you can give.
Mhm.
So I hope he doesn't die,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's not the first time someone's just introduced a character and then killed
Mhm.
them off within the same chapter as a way to just create people and make them
Mhm.
die.
Yeah. And also for me, I would say the chapter would be 8 out of 10. Reason is because I, if Nox shows some kind of new technique or like a badass technique, I would give it 10 out of 10. Or some kind of thing like some revelation that we never found out that it was a shocking revelation that like it leave us in a cliffhanger. Then that's a 10 out of 10. But to me, I'll just have to give it 8 out of 10. I love the backstory, the lore, everything, but like I said, we need to have some more of like the backstory of between the three brothers. I'll just call them because there are brothers, so in a sense,
Oh,
so that's why I feel like they need that kind of thing. So before thank you guys. If you have any questions below, we would like to answer questions. And so far we do have one question. So we'll answer that. If you guys have any questions, we'll answer the chapter questions for you, so that way we can answer your question. So let's start with let's pull up Iron Venom.
I like
I
that one right there.
I
Yeah,
like this question.
Iron Venom said, favorite fight in all Black Clover so far. Let's go with Andrech since you're excited about that.
Okay, I'm just gonna give a pretense to all the fights that we've seen so far. We've had a lot of mixtures of animation and fights because of Black Clover jumping like all around multiple studios.
Yeah.
But I gotta tell you, I haven't not. It's been a while since I've seen the animation quality that I've
Yeah,
seen from Yami and Asta versus Dante, and that one and a couple of episodes ago.
yeah.
So it was so well choreographed, mainly because it plays off the fact that Asta and Yami both use ki, so they're reading keys off. Like we, there's one chapter where Yami was talking about William being on the same key wavelength as him, so they kind of
Mhm.
fought side by side as if they knew each other's moves.
Yeah.
And we saw the exact same thing happen with Yami and Asta, and it was just such a well choreographed fight. Like there's a scene where Yami literally shoots up like focuses, and we learned in the previous episode that when he focuses like that, he's not going to miss. And then he
Mhm.
fires a dark slash at the guy, and he misses, and only to see Asta just use his Demon Slayer sword to
Oh
just
yeah.
smack him back in the back. So Yami didn't miss; he just knew Asta was back there, and it's just such a good fight. I love that fight, so good.
Yep. What about you, Ike?
God. Hey, I gotta talk about the same fight. I have to. You know what? I can't really pick anything else. That fight was absolutely badass. Like just absolutely badass. Just the whole from the beginning, Yami fighting him, and then moving forward from like, he couldn't take on Dante. He was like, man, I can't do this without you. Like, you know what? The biggest morale boost ever is having your leader saying, I can't do this without you. I'm gonna tell you that now. All right. So the fact that he sat there and just like, let's go. They get up and they start doing their thing. And then my favorite part is actually when Asta has all his swords blown out of the sky, and then Yami's just like, you, and he throws it off to him, and Asta he kind of looks at him like, you sure? And he just grabs it, and it just yeets Dante right there, right down the line, man. You know what? I like that one right there. That let's go with the 8 seconds. From the 8 seconds mark all the way up to him slicing him was perfect.
I love
Yeah.
the way his arm looked too, like the whole
Yeah,
devil,
yeah.
because
Yeah.
because when you read it in the chapter, like it described as like a black arm, really, but with like
Yeah.
red markings on it. But
Mhm.
if you look in the actual like anime, like there's like demonic claws, there's like red fingers and stuff. Like
It's like
it looks sick it looks sick.
Yeah.
it was
So
it
It's
was
super
good.
cool. Yeah,
yeah,
it was amazing.
honestly, for me, with like, I would have to go with the Dante fight because Yami versus Dante with Asta on it. Honestly, that fight was really good because I felt like there was a consequence. Like he lost his arm. Technically, he sacrificed his arm to gain power in order to use his demon potential, and I kind of like that because to me, that fits more to it than what it is. So I really, really like that. Um, so let's go to the second question. And the second question is for John. Let's pull up John, and he says, what is the character in Black Clover best fits your personality? Let's go with Ike.
I guess the best person in Black Clover that would best fit my personality per se. Uh Actually, it actually would be Asta, honestly.
Oh,
Um
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
it would be Asta, and the reason I say Asta not because I work out. All right, that's not why I'm saying it.
I thought you would say Yami though.
I love Yami, but nah. I'm not. I'm not that kind of like stocky manliness type of guy. um, I'm more like Asta. I feel like, and the reason because I'm not that smart of a person. That's one. I'm not that smart of a person, but you know what? When it comes to determination and hard working, and able to be able to push to work hard, that's where I've always peaked at. And like Asa's characteristics, just the way he talks to people, the way he treats people and stuff like that, I feel like kind of follows the same as I do. So I feel like that would be the character. I feel like Asa's the closest to me, or I would be the closest to Asa, or whichever it is.
What about you, Andrech?
Hold on. I'm pulling him up for you. His name's not well known.
Oh, okay.
What's this
He's
dude's
from the-
name?
Oh, which one? Why you talking about?
I'm
Why you
talking about
talking about?
that chunky dude that uses glass magic who talks like
Oh
this.
no!
my, what an atrocious eater.
Oh, I love him. Yeah.
He's dead. He's dead now, but
Oh,
what can you do?
R.I.P. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he did die in that battle.
Yeah, he's dead.
No!
He's gone.
He got murked, man. Oh
I'm
man,
dead.
we didn't even get to see it. He was just laid out.
Yeah.
No. Anyway, I would have to say I would have to go with Noel for me.
Noel, nice.
Yeah, because I'm stubborn. I have the stubborn trait. Sometimes I love the determination of Noelle, like hardworking and stuff, never giving up. And I really like her as a character, honestly. Even if she feels struggle, I felt like I could relate to her a lot because I do have struggles in time. So I felt like I can relate to her a lot because there's stuff that I'm like handicapped, but if I work hard from it, I think I could surpass those kind of things. So that's why I really like. Now let's go to the second question. Says, and this is from Soul. Soul 2112 says, which is your favorite character in Black Clover? Now let's go with Edridge.
Captain Yami, hands down.
There it is.
He's the best character in the show, and the reason
That's what I was
why,
looking for.
because Asta's an endearing idiot, and
Yeah.
Yuno's just kind of like stereotypical shonen protagonist.
Yeah.
Yami's like all of his dialogue is really entertaining, like in the sense it's just like at the beginning of Black Clover, all he talks about is killing people.
Yeah.
Like he's just like, you just got a new life. You better do something with it before I come back and kill you. Like that's just like his whole trope. And then his trope goes from do something or I'll kill you to surpassing your limits. And it's just he's an entertaining character to have on screen. He's endearing in the sense of he does these things for other people. So he's a good person, but he's doing his own way to get there, I guess you can say. He's just a good character. He's my favorite.
Okay.
Say, what about you, Ike? I know you're gonna say it.
Yami. It's definitely gonna be Yami. I have to go with Yami, even though he said it. I'm kind of upset that he got to be able to say it first. But hey, Yami, like he said, Yami's also not that type of leader that's just gonna tell you to do something, and he wouldn't do it himself. I think that's one of the major reasons that I look at this in this aspect, because you know what, you see a lot of the other leaders in the Wizard Kingdom, and in the Clover Kingdom, all the kingdoms, all these leaders that are there, and the way they come about these missions and these battles and stuff like that. Yami doesn't like he understands that there is sacrifice, but you know what? He's not going to tell his soldiers or his magic knights to do something that he would not do. And he even goes out there in the front lines and leads them through it. And so that's actually one of the biggest reasons that I like Yami, because he's more of a um, what is it called? A lead from the front type of leader, and he doesn't change himself. He doesn't.
He's an isekai protagonist who's finished.
Exactly, he's an isekai protagonist.
That's exactly what he is.
That's another thing. Isekai protagonist.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was an isekai protagonist that finished his journey, and now he's like just a retired captain who smokes like a chimney.
Yeah.
And on top of that, and because he's jacked. All right, he's absolutely jacked. That's another reason. He just looks like an absolute badass. Like he doesn't have to be doing anything.
He's like a Chad. He's Chad.
Exactly. You say he's a Chad?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
he's not a Chad. You stop it. A Chad is like, hey man, how's it going? Huh?
I don't know, man. There's many interpretations of that word.
Yeah, you're right. But you know what? Those are the main reasons why I like that character. That's why he's one of my favorite characters.
Honestly, for my favorite character, it's you guys are gonna be shocked, but I really love this character. It's Julius, the Wizard King.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, because honestly, Julius is very funny when it comes to, I'm curious about magic. So he goes around and he's so different from a Wizard King. He goes around searching he's so he was you find that he's like one of those Wizard King that finds a candy and he's like, oh, I want to see it. I want to see or touch it or something like that kind of thing. So
he's like that, but I feel like it's like a mask around his real personality. Like he's a cool guy, but he seems to know a lot more than he lets on.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
So
I feel like for him, I really like Julius, and I want to explore Julius's backstory and everything about him and his personality because he's so interesting and how he got that powerful. That's what I wanted to know. Okay. That. So let's go with this one. Nora says, what form of Noelle gets with her ultimate magic as a sea goddess from a dragon-based form?
Sea dragon god Noelle. There you go.
Yeah.
Just did your work for you, Tabata. I mean, I'm being honest, dude. I mean, it's not the first time you've heard of a dragon god, right? I mean, that stuff that's like everywhere, like in fairy tales and stuff.
Yeah.
I see Andrech on that one, honestly. We've already seen her regular armor. We've seen the fan service mermaid armor. I don't know what to say about
fan
that.
Service armor. Increases manga ratings and magic power.
But I think this next armor definitely should be some sort of dragon related armor. I do think that. I definitely do. And I think, I don't know. I want to see her to be able to do something different than just attacking. I don't know. I want to see some a spear that shoots out or elongates or something like that. I want to see something new to her powers. I don't want to just see this armor. I don't want to just see the dragon freaking attack. I want to see something new. We saw a lot. Like homeboy came in looking like freaking Beast and just jumped through people.
Looking like Beast? What Beast?
Beast mode.
Looking like Beast.
Beast. And you know what? I want to see the same with all the rest of these people along with Noelle. Noelle needs to get something out of this because now she doesn't have the water spirit to help her to do that mermaid thing. She doesn't. And honestly, I don't see any point for her to go into that mermaid form again. I just don't. I don't.
It just seemed like fan service.
100%.
It really just was kind of 100% fan service. If she actually beat Vonica, then it'd be like, wow, I'm like super. I can move faster in water, so I'm cooler than I used to be. But like, all it really did was just a trap. Essentially, it was just a set trap that didn't really work out. So it's like it literally is water creation magic fan service form. That's what it is.
Oh yes.
So it literally went from mermaid form fan service, and then her to wearing a t-shirt and shorts, and I was like, where'd they go?
I brought this up. The last time I was on here. Like I was just like, the magic in Black Clover must be incredible because they can literally take people's clothes off and just make them reappear without even. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Do you think Leo will get Monozone? Yes.
Hold on. Let's see.
We actually got a lot of good questions. I like these
Okay,
questions,
Yeah.
guys.
so
Keep them
this
up.
question's from Noor, who says, "Will God be introduced in Black Clover?"
Gods.
Yes. No. Maybe. I don't know. We've got demons, so that's not too far off. I mean,
You know what? I think Tabata's not going to end it here. That's
No,
not going
he's
to
not.
happen.
No,
oh
All
he's
right.
yeah.
not.
Yeah,
He's
we're
not.
going to have this demon arc, and you know what? This demon arc's also going to lead into that, or that's going to leak into this arc. I think we're going to find that out too, because you know what? I don't see any reason to introduce demons and
Mhm.
devils and all these things, and we're not going to, introduce a higher power in any way.
Yeah.
Um, so I think it makes perfect sense. I think it makes
Elves can
absolute perfect sense.
already read divine messages, apparently.
Yeah.
What are divine messages? He's going to elaborate that. If the story is going to continue on, he's going to elaborate on that further. If
Mhm.
it doesn't continue on, then that's all she wrote. I
He
don't
does.
really,
Yeah.
don't really know what to tell
Yeah.
you. Are there
Oh
going to
yeah.
be gods? Maybe. That's all I can tell you.
If there's like elf and demons and also what's that called uh
We have the Scylla.
dryads
We have
dryads
the
uh
dragon.
We
Mhm.
actually haven't seen dragons yet.
or
We,
or
we only see them in spell form. That's
where
all
am
we
We
I?
have
see.
the salamander
That's a fire spirit.
dragon.
It's a fire spirit, but
Yeah.
it's like we have not seen actual living dragons. We've seen
That is true.
elemental beasts that look like
I'm
they
just
look.
gonna throw this out. I'm just gonna throw this out, and I feel like Ike's gonna end up like, what am I talking about? I'm just gonna throw it out. I feel like the next arc is gonna be more of we're gonna fight with spirits, like any or like spirits, like water spirits or god spirits or something like that.
Oh yeah,
Oh, you mean like
Dryad
getting
just comes back
people?
and said the price for this magic is your soul, and then she becomes evil, and then it's
No,
another
it's
130
no,
chapters.
it's more of like a
Oh
spirit,
man.
like a spirit, something like with because I see like like I forget the queen's name. It's so hard to pronounce her name, but like the hard
Morpachika.
yeah, she has a water spirit, and same with things. So I feel like the next arc will get to know more about the spirits, the elemental spirits. I need to know more about that because we had a fire spirit, now we have water spirits. What else do we need?
They said there was 4 of them, if I remember correctly, but there's also natural creatures like Dryad.
Mm-hmm.
But if I would like the next arc to be like either they're going to continue off of this whole demon thing and they're going to go explore the world to try and like
Yeah.
get clean up all the devils, because I remember I think that was mentioned by the dream magical girl. I can't remember what's that captain's name.
Um.
It's very forgettable because we don't really talk to her that much. But she did say that the world was kind of teetering on like dimensional collapse due to the amount of devils that have currently residing in it.
Yeah.
So if all these devils get
Dorothy.
released, yeah, Dorothy, if all these devils get
Yeah.
released, then I guarantee you there's going to be a serious problem regarding the dimensional stability of the world. So they're going to have to go out and hunt all those devils, even if they do win the battle.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We haven't seen the Earth one, Souls, right?
So yes.
Yeah.
So since Aldrich kind of answered this question, I will put it up. Do you think Leo will get a mana zone? Ike.
Uh, Not right now. No. I don't think not right now. Not currently. No. They learned the ultimate magic, but that doesn't mean he learned Mana Zone. That's something completely different that he's gonna have to learn how to perfect, and that's gonna take years for him to perfect.
Not
Um.
really, though. I mean, when you think about it, like Monozone was introduced during the Elf arc as using the natural mana around you to try and like gain an advantage against opponent. But
Mhm.
when you think about it, the natural mana thing that they've learned in the Heart Kingdom is literally doing that exact thing. I don't think Mana Zone's really that different from what they've been doing so far. I guarantee you, Leo's just going to pick it up. I guarantee you, if Leo hasn't already learned Mana Zone, he's going he's going to. They're just going to insinuate that he's learned it because he's one of those powerful royal people. If that makes sense.
Yeah, like a
That'd be
prodigy.
interesting. That would be interesting because you know what? Yami barely learned it just now. But then again, he's Yami. He's kind of like Asa. He's kind
Yeah.
of a dunce.
Well, he kind of learned it on the fly in one of
Oh yeah.
those
Who
in that
else
arc
knows it
against
though?
Marileona.
Who else
Millie,
beside
Millie, his
Yeah,
brother.
Melioda? Who beside knows it though? I don't think anyone else amongst the
Asta.
knights.
Asta knows it now.
Marileona,
Asta? Does
um,
Asta have Mana Zone?
Yeah, he does. He used Mana Zone.
Yami, Marileona, um,
Asta has it.
Asta's doesn't have magic.
I'm not sure if
I
he doesn't
know
have any mana,
he
so he
said
can't use it. He uses
he
key.
said he said demon zone or something or because when he was fighting the elf, remember he was using a mana zone or something or
No,
No, he
oh,
was
that was
not.
key. He was using key.
When
is
Asta was fighting the elves, he was just using his two arms.
Yeah,
and
I
his
was gonna
no
leg.
say
no
yeah.
they were saying in the manga. I forgot what it is. It was the mana zone something that
I'm looking for it right now. I don't
yeah,
remember him having it. But
uh,
if we think about that, like who else
yeah.
has it? Like I can't see Leo just getting it out of nowhere.
Julius has probably something like that because
Oh,
remember
Julius definitely has Mana Zone.
his whole time zones are literally exactly what that is.
Oh yeah, he definitely has Mana Zone. There's
All
there's
right,
no
we have a question. Fuego, Nozal needs to be stronger than Asta, and this is the arc because
alien.
Julius can't be the Wizard King. One of them should be the Wizard King,
We
and
still haven't figured out how they select the next Wizard King. I imagine like it would be exciting if it was decided through like a one-on-one fight. I guess you can say like in an arena or something. But
Mhm,
from what I can tell, based upon the world he wants to create, Tabata made it so Magic Knights kind of can't be recognized on their power alone. They kind of have to fight with like a team per se, if that makes sense. Otherwise, a support mage would never even try to become a Wizard King, if that makes sense. Like
mhm,
the two people that we see contending for Wizard King right now is Nozel and Fuegoleon, and they've been going at it for a long time.
Yeah.
mhm,
And Fuegoleon has raw power, and Nozel makes up for that. Makes up for that by being three roles onto himself: a healer, a tank, and a support,
mhm.
and a
Hmm.
damage. Yeah, we
Yeah.
still haven't seen how they
And
select
also,
the
don't
next Wizard
forget
King.
their the way they conduct themselves as a
A
public,
leader,
leader, because
the
you also
public
have
image.
to, public image, because they're royalty, so they need to abide. If people who's gonna choose Nozel or I can't say his name,
Fuegoleon.
Felgolian,
Going
but yeah.
on. I think Fugolion, thinking about him and everything. So I think he will become the next Wizard King. And the reason I say he will become the next Wizard King is that yes, Nozel is a competent leader and
Mhm,
he's extremely strong. But the thing is, he doesn't really have that mentoring type of personality. He's not that kind. He kind of just expects people to be strong, especially if they're royalty
mhm.
within his teams and stuff
I
like
think
that.
Fuegoleon would lose to Julius in his little kid form right now. Like,
Oh no! Oh
well,
stop! No! 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 No!
Julius can literally invoke his old powers for like 30 seconds, and if he touches somebody, he kills them. He just steals their time and wins.
He's
Okay.
so strong now, though, with the freaking what is it? The salamander. Right now, he's
Yeah.
absolutely overpowered when it comes to that form.
Okay.
And I think that right there is pretty interesting. I think Fugolion is going to be the next Wizard King.
The
That's what I
interesting thing, we have another question right here. You want to
Okay,
ask?
Stace, do you think Famelian
think.
should have
Fugolion.
died at the first invasion?
No.
No.
It would have been interesting, maybe.
No.
It would have been an interesting development to say the least. Like it'd be interesting to see where Asta and Noel would go. Like the one
Mhm.
person that ever gave them any kind of push just instantly dies. But it's kind of lame. Like I like the idea of him waking up with more power because Yami literally told them like he was going to do that. It kind of that whole incident with him kind of illustrates how the grimoire and the person are connected. That I think
Mhm.
that's what that whole scene was made to convey because Fuegoleon got nearly killed and we saw his grimoire starting to dissipate. So it kind of showed that grimoires it
Ooh.
showed that grimoires and people were connected. I think that's what that whole
Mhm.
scene was about.
Yeah.
Yep. Uh,
All
man,
right.
I don't think he should have died. I don't think he
Okay.
should have died at all.
So we have a last question here with Nor say when Mars showed up, he needs to face Morris.
Mars
What do
already
you
apparently beat Morris.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he kicked him out of his country. I'd like to see what devil is actually possessing Morris. I think that's profoundly interesting. I
Mhm.
think because if I remember, I'm getting the kind of vibes that Morris actually might be like the super big bad demon, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
because he's kind of a renegade in the sense that he just goes around and does whatever he wants. But now he just
Mhm.
feels like opening gate up with a bunch of demons. Like it wouldn't be an issue for him if these demons got out. He just felt like doing it. So I think Morris actually might be the true big bad of
Mhm.
this whole arc. Like Dante, like for example, you could say the Eye of the Midnight Sun goons. Like those three are like the mini bosses, and the big guy was licked, right? Like
Yes.
he was quote unquote the big bad.
Mhm.
So I think Morris actually might be the person that they're going to end up struggling against at the end here.
Mhm.
So that's where I think it's going.
Interesting. All right. So I guess that's it for us. That wraps for us. And guys, be sure to watch our podcast again. We'll be live at 1 p.m. CST and also 180 CST.
1800. Yeah, 18
1800
o'clock. 18
CST.
o'clock.
18 o'clock. And our Black Clovers is Monday and One Piece is on Friday. Now since we're gonna be on moving to Twitch now, you will see us more our live will be in Twitch from now on in One Piece and everything. And if you still want to watch our podcast in YouTube, we'll be uploading that in our YouTube page too. So keep on staying tuned that podcast if you guys want to know more question, if you guys want to our live reaction to answering your question, please go to our Twitch so that we could answer all your questions to the chapters. And if you guys want to support us, please we'll give you the link for our content, so please donate if you want to support our content. This money will go to our YouTube to produce more videos and content for us. All right. So before we go, thank you for watching. If you guys want more of the content, please follow our social medias and subscribe and hit that notification button and comment below what you guys think. We like to know what you guys think about. And big thanks to us in Otaku International. Say bye, Ike and Andrech. Bye.
Bye.
See you later.